So I have a process, as I've learned over the years, about manifesting and also identifying your mission and purpose. And one of the questions that I've asked in this process is if you had to look at your life over the years and sum it up in one word. So if you had one word that described your whole life, what would it be? And when I asked myself this question, it was easy. It was called adventure. And this is where the adventure and self-mastery came, because as we approach life, one way we want to look at that is it's through an adventure, because life is an adventure. If you look at all the great adventures that maybe you've had or people have had, adventures come with all sorts of challenges and supports and roadblocks and obstacles. And to master our life is to be able to master these roadblocks and obstacles and these challenges that come up. And so tonight we're going to be discussing, I think, one of the foundational things that we need to have in order to be able to have more self-mastery over life, and that is getting to know who you are as a person. Does everybody have a pen? If you have a pen, this is where I want you to draw something, okay? Yes. All right. So I want you to draw 3 circles. I want you to draw one circle here, one circle next to it, and it overlaps the other circle in the middle. And then I want you to have another circle that overlaps the other 2 circles. So you got 3 circles, you got 1, 2, and then 3 on the bottom. Now, perfect. So in the top circle, I want you to have an R in one. I want you to have a C in the other and an H in the bottom one. And then you see where all the 3 circles overlap in the middle, there's an I. I want you to put an I in the middle there. So this is what's called the rich model, a rich formula. You got it. That's exactly right, Gia. So now this is what I've done here. This is a model that kind of condenses life into 4 different areas, because life has different areas. We have different components of life. And so the R component represents all the relationships in your life. Okay. The relationships with your family, relationships with your friends, and the relationship with your partner. Okay. So those are the 3 areas of the relationships that we have our components in. Now, in the C area is 3 areas. You've got the service that you're here to do. Each of us has a special gift and a service that we're here to provide and offer the world. That's the part of the C is the service. The other part of the C is your wealth, which is a W. And the other part of your C is your mastery of your service. Okay, so we have your service, the mastery of your service, and then your wealth, which is, wealth could be in many forms, but it's the result of your service, whether you want monetary wealth or wealth in different areas of your life. Okay, many forms of wealth. We're going to get into that later. And then at the bottom, you've got your H. Okay, and your H is 3 components: your chemical, your physical, and your emotional well-being. And it includes the mind and body in this whole area. And this is why the H is at the bottom, because it is the foundation of the other parts of your life. You know, if you lose your health, it affects every other part of your life. So health is the foundation of you having maximum fulfillment in life. So now in the middle, you have the I. And this is where it's the most important piece. As you can tell, all of the circles overlap in the I. So the I is a component of every single part of your life, which is your identity. Okay, so you got RICH, which is your rich formula. Okay, so this is your rich life formula that we're gonna refer back to this in pretty much every session that we cover, all 12. We're gonna always refer back to the rich model and the rich formula, and you're gonna essentially be building your rich model, your own custom rich model that aligns with you. So, but tonight we're going to talk about the I, which is the middle piece. Okay. Now the 3 components of the I are your values and drives and priorities. The second component is your inspired mission. And the third component is your authentic expression, you being you. Okay. Now, this one area, the I, is the cog in the wheel of your life. You know, all these components move back and forth. Life is that dynamic. You know, relationships continue to be dynamic. Your career, your finances continue to be dynamic. Your health and well-being continues to be dynamic. The one constant that we want to be strong and stable in is your I, which is your identity. This is who you are as a person. This is how you show up, and this is how you become you. You show up and just be you. That's your identity. And so as I work with clients, a lot of times what I'll notice is they'll come to me with stresses or confusions or chaos in their life. And it's in their relationships, or it might be in their career and finances, or it might be in their health and well-being. And the very first thing we do is we got to get clear about your I. We've got to get clear about who you are. What are your values? What is your mission? And what is your, what is it for you to meet, to show up, be authentic in life? Many times what happens is when you're not clear about who you are, then it's hard. You can't be real clear about what you want. And so when you're trying to build a life, doesn't matter how old you are, you're always building life. When you're trying to create your life, create your ideal relationships with your partner, with your family, with your friends, you're trying to create your ideal life in your career and build wealth, master your service, or you're trying to have mind, body wellness, chemically, physically, emotionally. If you're not clear about who you are as the person, your I, then it's likely that you're making decisions based around somebody else's values, or you're not quite clear about who you are. So you make certain choices that are not clear. And then what happens in life, the universe gives you beautiful feedback. When you're not being authentic and true to yourself, you'll attract chaos and confusion, and you won't be clear about what you want for your life. And you can have, those are the times where you sit on the fence with decisions. These are times where you feel insecure, or you feel less worthy, and you feel like you don't know what you're doing in life. And so what's wise when you're going through transitions, when you're going through challenges, or you just want to create a plan for your life, before we start building their relationships, career, finance, and health, let's get clear and strong in the middle with your identity. Who are you? What are your values and drives? What is your mission? What's important to you? And when you have that filter of your values, and when you have that way that you can throw questions by, and you have that sense of security in who you are as a person, then you can start making choices for your life in your relationships, career, health, and finance that's based around who you are as a person. What are your values? What are your drives? What's important to you? What's not important to you? What do you say yes to? What do you say no to? Those kind of actions. Because when you say yes to things that are not aligned with your values, and maybe you're subordinating to others, then usually you will attract feedback in the form of stress or anxiety or chaos or roadblocks and obstacles more often. And those are just really beautiful feedbacks, like I said, that is just trying to wake you up and get you clear again. And so when you're having times in your life where you're having this unclarity and you're having chaos or you're having challenges, then that's a good indicator that you might not be super clear about who you are as a person. And then it becomes more challenging in the long run as you make decisions. I know that in my life, when I was around 30, I had already built my practice and a relationship, I had my life set up. And then I really started looking at who I was and what is my mission and how do I really want my life? Because, and then when you really get clear about that, sometimes it means your life has to change. And so I see that quite a lot with clients that I work with who are going through transitions and having struggles. So the very first thing we want to do, this is why tonight is the foundational course of all the other courses, is we want to start in the middle with the I and build off from there. And this program is about getting clear about you, getting clear about what you want, getting clear about how you want to show up in your life and what do you want in each area of your life. because we're all different. We all come from different backgrounds. And the key is to be able to access the wisdom from your life experiences. Life has transitions all throughout. My first transition of life was being born, and it was a really challenging situation. And then if you look back on your life, you'll notice, well, as you get in grade school, and then you get into high school, and then you graduate, you move off, and you get in relationships, and and then you have maybe deaths, so you have divorces, and you have children, you have all these things happen in our lives that are big, important transition points. And when you meet these transition points, which we all do at some point, we're going to have transitions and challenges. When you're clear about who you are and you're clear about your values and drives and priorities, then you can navigate these things way more effectively. And my job as a consultant is to help guide my clients and students through these transitions, not to do it for you, not to drag you by any means, but to empower you to learn how to navigate it on your own. And when you can get confident and secure in who you are as a person and learn to navigate these situations on your own, now you have self-mastery. Because when you look up self-mastery, it really is interesting. It's not a true definition for it. To me, it has lots of different components to it, self-mastery. And so certainly the foundation of self-mastery is self-knowledge. If you don't, if you want to master something, you've got to know about it. So if you want to master yourself, master your life, master the ability to manage stress effectively, then it's about getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And when you can do that and access that, then you can navigate these stresses and situations much more smoothly. As opposed to what I see is when you're not clear about who you are, you can have emotional swings, ups and downs, roller coaster rides. And I'm sure we've all had those times. I know I've had in my life. And what I've noticed is as I become more clear and secure in who I am and my mission, it doesn't mean challenges don't come. It doesn't mean we don't have roadblocks and obstacles sometimes and lessons to learn. It just means that now you've got a tool to be able to navigate these more effectively. And so we're going to cover some things tonight about how do you actually know who you are and what you want in your life. And there's some really great quality questions that we're going to ask you. And we're going to have you ask yourself actually, so you can know this. Let's get into a little bit about the three components of what it means to have self-mastery and what it means to capitalize on your own uniqueness. Tonight's topic is, how do we capitalize on our uniqueness? What does that actually mean? And so to capitalize on your uniqueness means to get to know who you are and all of your unique gifts and talents that you have, and all of those unique learning lessons that you've had over through your life and what you've gained out of that. And how do you use that information to build a foundation of identity that will hold you strong throughout the waves of life, the ebbs and flows of life that come. The clients I work with are usually trying to build better relationships or inspiring careers, or they're trying to improve their health and well-being. And all of that is accessible when you're clear about who you are, because then you have something to filter things by. And to have a filtering system where you can ask quality questions at any time gives you the ability to move through challenges much more quickly and not get stuck in a cycle. When we get stuck in an emotional cycle because we haven't the tools to move past it, we actually don't evolve any longer. We stay in revolution instead of evolution. And so the idea is to keep evolving and have evolution in your life through a strong sense of self, strong sense of and self-mastery over your emotions, self-mastery over your health and well-being, self-mastery over your relationships, over your finances, over your career. And then you've got a nice rounded well-being of life. So again, why is it important that we know our values? Because it gives us a sense of self. And when we have a strong sense of self, we can really manage anything that comes our way. Also, when you're clear about who you are, it gives you an opportunity to look back at your past. Because there may be events that have happened in your life that you may look back and you may think, oh, that was not a very good event. I wish that hadn't happened, or, oh, I really messed up there. I have shame and guilt over that. I have regret over this. And so when you have clarity over your values and you have clarity about who you are, you get to look back on your life and realize that, wow, okay, instead of me seeing this as a terrible event, I actually can understand why I made this choice, because that was based on my values at the time. Because we make choices based around our highest values and what we feel is important to us. And when we subordinate ourselves and make choices in other people's values, we then start beating ourselves up for that at some point. We have resentment. When you're not aligned to your values, there are certain feedback mechanisms that happen. You have two things that happen. You'll notice it in your language. When people are not clear about who they are, their values and their drives and their mission, they start to say things like, I've got to, I should, I have to, or I ought to. Those types of languages. When you're clear about who you are, when you have more clarity of your mission and values, then you start saying things like, I desire to, and I love to. And so that's a different language. And so I encourage you to, one of your homeworks I was going to tell you later, I'll tell you now, is start paying attention to your internal dialogue with yourself and also your external dialogue. How often are you saying, I've got to, have to, I should? Those are indicators that you might be living in a lower value and not truly inspired. Because when you're truly inspired and living, you automatically say and feel love and desire, and you want to actually do these activities. The other thing is you start having it feeling in your physiology. When you're not living according to your highest values, when you're subordinating, you will have physiological signs and symptoms, such as you might have aches and pains, you might have fatigue, you might have headaches, you might have knee problems or back problems, or your physiology is designed to give you feedback to let you know that you're also off track, that you're also not living according to your values. You're also making choices that might be against your greatest good. And so it's important to learn how to pay attention to your body's feedback. And when you can learn how to do that, then you can also have empowerment over understanding when you're off and when you're on purpose, when you're off and on your values. Also, when you have clarity of your values, in the present moment, you can be there. When you have guilt, shame, emotions from the past, it distracts you from being present in the moment. And one of the sure signs of being off purpose is having distracting, low priority thoughts coming in your mind. And you'll notice yourself having difficulty staying focused and staying present. And so in regards to your future, when you're making future plans for your life, which I'm assuming all of you have a future plan in your life you want to accomplish something in your life, right? Maybe you're not super clear on it yet, what it is, but let's agree that there's somewhere you want to go. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be even here tonight. So when you're clear about who you are now in the present, you can actually then plan more in the future and based around what you want and because of who you are. People that aren't clear about their life, clear about who they are, tend to not plan their future very, very well, or not at all. And people that have clarity about who they are and have a mission for life and want to do something, they will plan that life out and have action steps in place. And so understanding and knowing your values, drives, and your priorities, again, is a foundational piece of the puzzle. It's the piece that you want to spend the most time and energy on. It's the piece that you want to be patient with yourself, because finding out who you are isn't the easiest question in the world. I mean, it's the question you hear a lot is who am I and why am I here? And those are some beautiful questions to ask, because ultimately to know yourself and to then be yourself and to then love yourself, the Delphic Oracle are beautiful components to have in your life, no matter what you're going to do. And so knowing yourself is number one. And so we want to really get into how do we actually get to know ourselves? What does it even mean? How do we find out who we are? And that's one of the questions I get a lot is, okay, I don't really know myself. I don't know what I want. I feel like I'm lost or stuck. And this is another great feedback. If you're having a feeling of loss or stuckness or confusion, chaos in your life, then again, notice that and allow that to be feedback for you that will inspire you to take action. So how do we find out who we are and what we want? And the answer is there's many ways. You have to start asking what's called quality questions. Sorry, someone say something, mute. So asking quality questions is the key to being able to identify who and what you are. Now, there are many quality questions you can ask. There are many tests out there you can take. You can do personality type tests. You can do. Dr. Demartini has a values questionnaire on his site that's great. There's a lot of different things you can do, but the key is asking quality questions about who you are. Some of the core questions that I will tend to ask clients that I work with are how do you spend your time? How do you spend your money? How do you spend your energy? What is it you love talking about? And when you can answer these types of questions, there's and Dr. Demartini's process, there's 13 specific questions. When you can dig in and ask these type of questions, you can have a better understanding about who you are. Another thing I love doing is looking back on your life. Scan your life from the time you were born to the current day and see if you can identify the most important events that have happened in your life, significant transitions, significant events, significant moments that have happened in your life that you can draw on, and then ask yourself the question, what are the nuggets of wisdom that I can pull from this? How has this actually served me to have this experience? What are the biggest lessons that I've learned from having this experience in life? When I was up until I was about 30, I would look back on this accident that I had when I was 18 that almost killed me. And I thought that was a really terrible event. And I was like, wow, that was horrible. I don't know. I wish that had happened, and all those kind of things go through your mind. But when I became 30 and I started learning how to ask these quality questions through these courses and things I was going through, is I was able to look back and realize, wow, that was a really significant event. How did that actually serve me? Wow, it actually got me into this field, and it actually taught me about mind body. It taught me about physical healing. It taught me about chiropractic and well-being, which drove me to where I am today, obviously. And so every event in your entire life has got nuggets of wisdom in it to access, to learn about who you are today. We don't go through experiences for no reason. We go through experiences for learning. One of my processes I go through with my clients is going through all the events, and let's pull out these nuggets of wisdom to help give you insights about who you are, but also about why you're here. We gain wisdom and experience, and we gain knowledge, and we gain skills from each experience that we have. And each of those things are to be used in your current life today and in the future. And so if you don't take the time to look at those and learn from those experiences, then you're missing some of your greatest tools that you need access for. Because I believe that when we experience something and learn something for that, we're meant to have that information for our future for some reason, either to teach it or to use it in our life, or both. And so to be able to take the time and go back and look at your life and just really break down each of these moments so you can learn why it happened and how has it actually made you who you are today. And, each of us are so unique with our values. No one has the same values because no one has had the same life as you. No one's had the same experience as you. No one filters the world like you. That's based on your values alone. You can have a one event happen, 10 people are watching the event, and you have 10 people with different opinions and different insights about that event. Now, then you ask yourself, well, who is right and who's wrong when we're judging these events? And the answer is no one, because everyone's right when it comes to their values. And so when you can get clear about your values and know what's right and wrong for you, and then you can realize that, wow, I've got my own set. Everyone else has their own set. They have an opinion about something. I have an opinion. They're right in regards to their values. I'm right in my values. Neither one of us are wrong. So we're all just thinking differently based on who we are in life. And so that allows you to have more connections with people, and it takes away judgments, because judgments comes from when you're judging your values in regards to someone else's values, and you're thinking you're right and they're wrong, or they think you're right or you're wrong and they're right. And then you separate. And so when you're clear about your values and certain in yourself, then it doesn't matter if someone doesn't agree or disagree with what you are thinking. You just know that it's right for you. And when you have that strong foundation, when you're clear about who you are, then you're trying to build relationships and your career and health. Now you've got this really beautiful foundation to build off of and build on top of and grow from. Because life will throw at you different experiences, and your values may actually shift over time. What's important to you 10 years ago might be not as important to you today, but something else has become more important. So these values can be transient and they'll change over time. You'll have some core values, but you'll have different values over time that happen because of events. Maybe you lost your job. I mean, a lot of people the last couple of years have had huge value changes and shifts because their life has been totally changed throughout COVID. Their lost jobs, lost finances, lost relationships, new jobs have come along. I mean, there's been lots of transitions for people. And so as the dust is settling and we're starting to try to get back into normal life, we're seeing that now people are more confused than ever about what to do with their life. Where do I go from here? Things have changed. Who am I today compared to I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago? And what you'll notice is you're probably slightly different in what's important to you, not important to you. So it's important to occasionally go through a process of clarifying what your values are and who you are today. And then you don't want to make choices for the future based on who you were 10 years ago. You want to make choices based on who you are right now, because that's all you know is who you are today. And when you get clear about who you are today, you can actually plan the future. And when you can plan the future based around your highest values, the opportunity to actually manifest what you desire goes up. Because when you align what you want in your life and it aligns with your highest values, then that's what manifests in your life more readily. When you plan your life and it's not based around your highest values, it's designed to give you roadblocks and challenges to keep you from having that, because that's not what's aligned to your highest values. Many times what we'll do, and we all have done this in our life, we will have authority figures that we put on pedestals, and we will try to live according to their values, and we'll subordinate our values to them. This is something common we do with our parents, we do with any religious figures, teachers, anyone that you might compare yourself to, judge yourself against, and then you'll try to have to live up to them and what we think is important to them. And we try not to disappoint them because they're higher on our values. We put ourselves below them. We put ourselves in a pit, we put them on a pedestal. And so when you try to live according to someone else's values and not your own, you will run into challenge, roadblocks, and obstacles every time. That's the feedback to try to get you back on track. And so when I work with clients who are going through challenges and they're super upset about it, they want to get out of it, it's like the first step is not to run from the challenge. The first step is to embrace it, step back and observe the challenge and see what it's trying to teach you based on who you are and your highest values. When you're clear about who you are and you have the challenge, you can now have that filtering system to learn from. And when you're not clear about who you are, you don't have the filtering system. And so it's easy to get lost. It's easy to feel stuck. It's easy to feel like you keep running into the same thing over and over again. Have you ever felt like you keep attracting the same challenge and you attract the same situations, you attract the same type of people in your life, you attract the same type of jobs, the same types of roadblocks seem to keep coming back in. This is all feedback to help you get more clear about who you are. Because when you have clarity, that's when you can have a vision for the future. You can actually create action steps and move forward. When you're unclear about who you are, You're going to have unclear decisions. You'll be on the fence a lot of times about things. You have indecisiveness. You might feel cloudiness, confusion, and those kind of things. But when you have clarity about you, when you have clarity about where you want and where you want to go, decisions become much, much easier. You don't find yourself sitting on the fence so much. When you have an opportunity to pick A or B, it becomes simpler. Wow, does A or B align with my values more, help me get to what I want in my life? A sure looks attractive and shiny and looks like it'd be a lot of fun, but really, is it aligned to who you are and your values? Then you can really choose yes or no. Because as we're going to learn in the next session, we're going to learn that it doesn't really matter what you choose. You're still going to learn. It's going to be support and challenge, positive, negatives, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, either way you go. You're not going to ever escape that. So I would much rather choose to live according to my highest values and embrace the supports and challenges, ups and downs that come with that, because there will be still, versus the challenges that come with trying to be someone you're not, or trying to live up to someone else's values. You're going to have another set of support and challenges. And so when you can be clear about who you are, you actually have you can be more empowered over choosing the challenges that you want to face. Choose inspired challenges that help you get what you want in life versus challenges that actually have to teach you lessons and you've got to do it all over again. Because when you don't learn the lesson from your challenge, you will be attracting the challenges all over again. That's what the school of life is about, just like grade school. If you miss a grade, you don't pass, you got to take it over again. If you attract challenges in your life and don't learn the lessons from them, you will keep attracting those again and again, and it'll become in different forms, and you'll get to do it over and over for as long as you like. When you're clear on your values and you're strong in that, you can actually transcend these things and you can move to the next level of challenge. Like I said earlier, self-mastery doesn't mean you don't attract challenge and circumstances and opportunities and chaos. Sometimes you actually will continue to. That's growth. That's where we learn the most. And if we don't embrace the growth of these challenges, then we get stuck in a cycle and we don't grow. And we'll look back at these events in our life and think that they were terrible and there was no meaning to it. I wish it hadn't happened. And those are probably those are the ones that are most important, the ones that you're trying to avoid and not want to play out again because you see there was more negative than positive, and then it didn't. You don't see how it served you. So when you clear on your values, you can see how the event served you. It can make sense to you, and you can understand yourself. And you don't have the shame and guilt thinking you messed up on a decision. And you don't have the idea that I wish it would have been different, because if you change it back then, you're actually saying, I don't really like who I am today, because who you are today is an amalgamation of every single event and circumstances that you've had in your entire life. So if you wish to change something in your past, there's some conscious feeling that you're not aligned today and you're not inspired about who you are today. And when you can embrace your past by understanding your values and understanding that your choices were aligned with those, and you can embrace today who you are, now you have the opportunity to have fulfillment and self-mastery. And this is what this first course is about, is getting this in your mind and taking the time and energy to get to know you on a whole deeper level that you've never done before, because you're going to create your entire life around who you are as a person. And as I've done this process with clients, sometimes when you get clear about who you are and you get clear about your values and you get aligned with your mission, you might look around at your life and go, I don't fit here. I chose these based on something else, or I'm sitting here and I don't recognize myself in this. And so that's one of the things that happens is once you get clear, the question is, how now do you integrate your new values and this new knowledge into your current life and bridge where you are to where you'd love to be? And that bridge is built around your values and your drives and your priorities. And it's linked to your inspired mission in life. And so that is what we want to create, is this foundation. And this is how you capitalize on your uniqueness, is by being able to identify your highest values and drives and see how everything you've chosen in your life up till now, and you're in your current situation today based on what you've thought, who you were up until this point. And once you get clear, now you can decide, where do I want to go here? Where do I want to attract next into my life? I find that manifestation, being able to attract something in your life that you want consciously, can be done much easier when you're clear about who you are, because all of us are constantly manifesting things in our life. We just need to not be actively and consciously doing it. And so to become more active and consciously at creating, you got to be more conscious and clear about who you are as a person. And when you can do that, then you have the ability to just create a vision and attract what you want in your life. So I hope this is going in. I think you guys are still on mute. If you have any questions, throw your questions in the chat box, and we're going to answer those afterwards, after we're done. So the next thing I want to take you on is this journey from now, once I get clear about my values, once I get clear about who I am as a person, now how do I take that and integrate that into my mission in life? And so one of the things that we do know that you want to know and understand is that all of us have a unique mission. We all have a unique purpose for being here. And we all have our unique set of values. And so your mission is to be carried out by you living your highest values and being authentic. And then what is it that you want to do now with your life that is going to be the service that you want to provide to the world? Why have you gone through the challenges that you've had and situations in life? What have you learned from these things? And how can you take that information and knowledge and build into your mission? One of the processes that I take people through is called the Inspired Mission Formula. And we take people through a series of questions, and we look at your past, we look at your present, and we look at how you think and what you want. And from that, we put together an idea of what your mission is and why you're here. And wrapped up in that mission is your highest values and drives. Because no doubt that you being authentic and living true to yourself is a part of your mission. We're not here to be other people. We're not here to pretend we're someone else, and someone else is not here to pretend to be you. We're all here to just be our own unique self and express that unique self and serve how we're here to serve. And when you can tie your service that you're here to do to your values and inspired mission, now you have an opportunity to grow and help people, and whatever it is you want to do in your life, now you have the opportunity to live an inspired, more fulfilling life based around your highest values and who you are. So your inspired mission basically is you being you. And we're all unique individuals. No one has the same mission. No one has the same value. Now, what we'll notice is we might be attracted to certain types of people, and we might be repelled for certain types of people. And we're going to be attracted to people that have similar values, similar and like minds. And we tend to be more repelled from people who have different value systems and think differently than us. And so when you look around and you want to build your relationships in your life, and you ask yourself, who am I as a person? What are my values? And what types of people do I want to be around that help me fulfill my mission in my relationships? Who is the ideal partner that fits into this? Who is my friends that fit into this? How does my family fit into this category? How can I just show up and be myself? And when you look at your career, same thing. What is my service that I can provide that I can wake up every morning and I feel inspired to do that, and I go to work, and when I get finished with that, I'm still inspired, and I feel I have more energy afterwards than I did before. That's how you know you're linked into an inspired mission. Is you will have more energy when you're done than you did when you started, because you're in your highest values, you're in your mission. And again, remember the language. You might find yourself thinking, I've got to, I have to, I should. And those are the key languages that you'll have when you're not living according to your highest values. You're not on purpose. And when you're on purpose and on mission, it's I love to, I choose to, I desire to, that language. So one of the things over the next couple of weeks that you want to do is start observing your language. And it could be internal dialogue. It could be external dialogue. Sometimes we'll external dialogue something, but we're really thinking something different. Okay. And so be an observer of your life over the next couple of weeks. Find moments to where you are feeling inspired and plugged in, and you're in your love to, you're in your choose to, and you're in your desire to. And make a note and write down what you're doing. And then also take those moments when you're feeling like I've got to, I have to, I should. And we know those moments because when you're in those moments, you're going to have lower energy. You might have aches and pains. You might have a headache. You might just not feel your best because you're in your lower values and you're not doing what's inspiring to you. Make a note of these things as well, because right now it's about learning about who you are, and asking quality questions is the best way to do it. So take an observation a couple of weeks and jot down those things. What's inspiring to you? What's not? Where do you feel your most health and well-being, and where do you not? And make a note of your physiological symptoms that you might be having in those moments. Because as we're going to get to in a later session, we're going to get into the mind-body work and the mind-body connection and how to decipher your symptoms and physiology, so you can know how to address the issues that are coming up. So our physiology is one of our greatest teachers. So when you can learn to master your health, mind, body work and your health and well-being, that's a whole new level of fulfillment in life. Because we're not here just to master one area. When I work with clients, we want to master all areas: relationship, career, health, finance. And to do so, we got to have clarity in the middle. We got to get the I strong. We got to get stable, and we got to get grounded in yourself, grounded in your I. That way you can build your life around you and what's inspiring to you. And you might be sitting here in a place of, I don't know what to do. My life feels stuck. I feel lost. I feel like I don't know where to go. And I'm saying this is the very perfect spot to be in, to launch from, to springboard from, to reconnect back to who you are. Anytime you're going through challenges and stresses and you have situations that are uncomfortable, then take that as feedback to take a step back and let's get clear about who I am again, and remind yourself about who you are. So when you can have clarity about who you are and you have a list of values, now you can access that anytime you want to, when you have a decision to make about life, and you can really choose wisely to how to move forward, and not stay stuck in revolution and keep on going. So I think that hopefully we impressed the importance of why that we want to start with getting clear about who you are, getting clear your values, priorities, and drives. Why it's important to have self-knowledge, which is the key, is the foundational key to launch from any endeavor you're trying to go on, and tapping into your inspired mission. And to do so, take some time, connect with your physiology, make notes, ask questions. If you have questions over the next couple of weeks, please send me a message. Let's get through these, ask these questions. So like, again, this is the foundation. So we're going to start here and get clear as we move into the next class in 2 weeks, which is going to be around, you can't mess things up. I'm sorry, how to use your 3 superpowers to get what you want. We're going to get into your 3 superpowers that help you get what you want in life. We're going to cover those. Again, these are foundational that we're going to start with, so you can learn how to navigate life much more effectively. So now, if there's questions, did anyone have any questions they put out? Gia, do you have that?
Hello, Dave.
Yes.
I see the last question. No, the last message. Let me see if there are any questions in this last message from Rachel's.
So if Rachel's still here, you can unmute Rachel and have Rachel ask.
Okay, Rachel, do you want to be unmuted?
Yeah. Hey, yes. Hear me?
Do you have any question?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just read my question. So along the vein of values, I
Yes.
have a value on personal growth, which is showing up in the form of a blog, and it's like inspiring me to tap into that part of my life that's important. But I also have a value on wealth building, which unexpectedly has shown up in the form of a different business. And so I'm just curious that, I guess, your mission, can you have it in like multiple forms? Because the blog fulfills the need of personal mastery and sharing that, but there's not going to be like a strong return on any kind of like wealth building, because I have to kind of build it up. Whereas this other business is very much around wealth building. There's a huge return on it very quickly,
Right.
but it's not satisfying in the same way as talking about personal mastery. So I'm just wondering if they're showing up in two different forms because they can't be combined at the same time. For whatever reason, they're just showing up in two different forms. So it's like I have a value in both, but they don't have to, like, I don't have to strictly just make money around the blog. I can do the blog because it satisfies that part, but then I also have this other business, which is satisfying the wealth building.
Yeah.
So is that normal? Common?
So
I
yes,
don't know.
absolutely. So this is a really great point, and we're all going to cover this some in a couple of sessions, which is around identifying the forms, because yes, every area of life, relationship, career, health, wealth, will have different forms periodically through our life based around where we are at the time. For instance, if you're wanting to, say, build wealth, then the first thing to do before you build wealth is you want to identify the form that your wealth is in, because you might have a perception that you have no physical, you don't have no money physically, but when you can identify the wealth that the wealth that it's in now, like what form is it in? Like maybe it's in your relationship, maybe it's in your health and well-being, you have your wealth, maybe it's in your career, you have your wealth. It just may not be in a financial form. So that will help you look at your life and realize that nothing's messed up here. You're not missing wealth. You're not missing a relationship. You're not missing health. You just might have it in different forms. So so to appreciate all the forms that you have it in life is foundational to help you attract more wealth. Because if you have wealth, say, in a certain form, but you're not recognizing or appreciating it, then you're not going to continue to attract more wealth. You've got to appreciate where you are in the forms that everything's in order to manifest new forms. And so for you, it's like, look at all the forms that what you're wanting to attract is in, and see how that form is actually serving your highest values. Each form that it's in, because it can be in many forms. And so see how those forms are actually serving your highest values, because you attracted them in that form for a reason. Because you're not making any mistakes. Everything's happening for a reason. It's about seeing how it's serving your highest values. So then you can see, wow, I've made the perfect choice here. There's no, I should have done differently. I've actually did perfectly up to this point. And when you can get to that stage, then you have the ability to think, do I want to have it in a new form or not? And then that's a new question and a new goal to set based on your values. I hope that answered your questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a mistake that my wealth isn't showing up in the form of the blog. It's like not a mistake, or it's not like that your mission isn't complete. I guess
The question is, how is your blog building wealth? How is it your blog a form of wealth? That's
right, like in that personal mastery form, not in the like physical monetary form. Okay, I think exactly. The misconception is that your job should satisfy, or whatever should satisfy all the areas, which the areas all show up in multiple forms, not all in just one area. Like your job isn't only around like monetary wealth, also like friendship wealth, also around like, I don't know, career. Like it's okay that they're all separate sometimes.
Yeah. when you take the time to appreciate the forms that you've attracted, so wealth might be relationships, might be career, when you can take the time to appreciate those and see how they're linked to your values, then you have more self-worth because you see that you haven't screwed up and you have made the choices. And when you have a higher self-worth, that attracts more net worth. So your net worth and your self-worth go together right on each other. So if you have high self-worth, you attract more wealth. If you have low self-worth, you repel wealth. So anytime you can appreciate your own choices and appreciate the experiences of your life, you're actually increasing your self-worth. And when you increase your self-worth, you increase self-love. And again, these are other components of self-mastery, being able to self-regulate, being able to love yourself, being able to know yourself. These are all components of being able to master yourself. So
that's great. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. Any other questions, Gia? Anybody have any more questions?
I don't
Annette?
see any more questions. If somebody has any questions, you're welcome to ask.
I have a question. Hi.
Hi.
So I'm teaching yoga on Zoom, and right now I like to write, but I haven't written in years. So I'm starting to use MailChimp, right? And I'm actually looking at my writing, and I kind of am hesitant to send the mail out, a little bit anxious. And then I had COVID. So I just relaxed, and I don't know, something must have shifted in me.
Yeah.
And when I rested that week, I said, oh, and I just went on and I just wrote. And after that, I had one of my students whom was teaching, just took one of my classes because I have 10-week sessions. She signed up for two sessions. And she said, Annette, she said, I don't know what you did, but she said, something's changed in your class. And she picked up on the energy, right?
Yeah.
And she, yeah. So I'm trying to manifest more students into my class.
Great.
But I'm also trying to build that my database with new clients, right? And I got that hesitation there.
Yeah. So
how do I merge that?
This is a great question. How do you capitalize on that? So what you've done is you tapped into, an inspired writing. You tapped into a part of you, and you allowed that to come out. And so you were really tapped into your highest values in that moment. And so we don't have to do as much to build our business when we're aligned to our highest values. Because if you'll notice, when you're aligned to your values and you're living your mission, you're become a magnet because you put out the energy that you are on purpose, and you become magnetic to people, and you don't have to go get clients. They just show up. People will say comments like you just said, which is, there's something different about you. I don't know what it is. And what it's going to be is that you are in sync with your mission. You're in sync with your values. These are great observations. So whenever someone mentions those things, make a note of that and say, okay, thank you for that. What am I doing that's creating that? Because those are going to be indicators about when you're on and off purpose, when you're on and off your mission, and on and off your values. When you're on your values, I think I've heard once that you become like you're on fire, and people come and want to watch you burn because you're locked in. And we've all probably been in those times where we're locked in, man. You're really in. And when you're living in that, when your highest values and you're living on that purpose, time flies. You don't realize what's happening. Everything kind of disappears, and you lock into the present moment. Exactly. And people pick up on that. And that is foundational to attract more wealth and to attract more business in your life. And so the more you can stay in that state, you won't have any problem building your business and attracting more wealth, because in that state, you have the highest self-worth. And again, like we said, when you have high self-worth because you're living your values and you're doing what you're here to do, you attract wealth without even trying to go get it. So stay in those highest values. Great. That was a great, thanks for sharing that. That was awesome. Other questions and comments? We got some time to do that. So any other questions about values, drives, what to do next? I have a if anyone has any specific questions you want to ask personally, on my website, I have a synergy call. You can have a free 30-minute synergy call, and we can sit and talk, and we can go through anything any roadblocks you're having, any questions, any concerns. If you're feeling stuck or lost, you want to have some guidance on what to do next, go to that, drdavetug.com, hit the synergy call, fill out the form, and we'll get on a call or a Zoom call or we'll phone call. We'll sit and talk through what needs to be done. And for those of you who are really adventurous and want to really deep dive, I do we have a retreat here in North Texas that you come and you stay here over the weekend, and we do some really intensive work on your values, your purpose, your vision for life. We create action steps, and we help you, get clear about what you want and where to go. And then when you leave, you go do it and integrate it back in. So all this is on my website, drdavetug.com. Feel free to take a look. Love to have any of you do either one of those. So what other questions? Some chat. Anything else, Gia? Great.
I don't see more questions in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Great. What time is it? Looks like we've okay. It was an hour. 7 to 8 is the talk, and we have questions if we need to. So I will be here. I'm going to hang around for a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, love to share more about how to navigate. So
sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I wrote it in the chat box, but I don't know if you guys could see it. I found the concept of indicator is interesting, and I would like to hear other examples that could be indicators of you being in sync to your mission.
Great. Good question. So when you're living more in your highest values, your physiology normalizes more. So from a physiological point of view, you feel more energy, you feel more vitality, you have less aches and pains, and you feel more energy coming out, and you have the ability to attract in more of what you desire. Because when you're locked into that, you become magnetic, like we said. And so there's a physiological change. And many times when someone has clarity and they get locked in and they release emotional baggage, physiological problems that have been around for years and years clear up. And so just start noticing those type of things happening in your body. How do you feel physically when you're doing these activities? If you're doing an activity, like say you're going to work, or let's say you're with your partner, or you're with friends, and you physiologically feel stress, tension, stomach ache, heart races, headache, tension, any of these symptoms, make note of those things. Those are really great indicators and feedback about you and your life. And so again, over the next couple of weeks, take time and just notice and recognize these moments and make note of these things, because those are going to be really important places to start, foundational places to start clearing out some baggage that might be hanging around, some reason why you are feeling the way you feel. Now, also pay attention to your language. You will find yourself language, internal, external dialogue, got to, have to, shoulds. Those are feedback and signs and symptoms, just like a back pain or a headache. A feedback of your language is equally as important to pay attention to, because we can't hide who we are and our highest values. You can try to pretend to be someone you're not, but your physiology will not allow you to do it, because you're going to have feedback from there. Any of those who are out there who teach yoga or do mind body work, you understand that what we're talking about. The body is a beautiful feedback mechanism if you can learn how to decipher the symptoms and learn what that means. I was fortunate to take a course a few years ago where we went over 1,000 different health conditions, and each condition had an emotional link to it, and how do they tie together. So one of the things that I love working with is people who are having physiological problems. How do we decipher those, clear those out, clear the emotions, and the body can heal itself. And so, so again, to answer your question, your physiology is going to be the number one feedback for you, and your internal external dialogue. So start paying attention. When you're trying to master yourself, you've got to get more knowledge about yourself. And to do that, you've got to pay attention to your language, pay attention to your actions, pay attention to who you're around, pay attention to the choices that you're making, because those are all indicators about who you are. And so sometimes we just go through life and we're it's like unconscious about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So what I'm asking you to do is start being more conscious about who you are and what choices you're making, how you feel about certain things. Are you saying yes to things that you really, really want to say no to? Are you trying to make other people happy and subordinating yourself to try to please others over yourself? That's a very common symptom of you are not locked into your highest values and who you are, because you're trying to please everyone else outside of you. And so pay attention to your life over the next couple of weeks, and just take this, use this as a research project. Like I said, I've been researching self-mastery of Dave Tuck for 53 years. Okay. And it will continue to be an ongoing project until I'm no longer here. And so when you can learn to ask the quality questions, an exercise I love doing is go through your life, write down any event that you have had in the past that was challenging, that you thought was a roadblock or obstacle or a wrong direction, or whatever you want to label that, and start looking at it more clearly by asking quality questions. How did this serve me? What did I learn from that? When I was that person back then, and what were my values, and why did I choose to do what I did? And when you can really get clarity on that, then it clears out the baggage that you somehow have made mistakes and you're somehow in the wrong place in life, which is impossible, because we're never in the wrong place in life. We're just in a place in life. And wherever you are now is the place you're going to launch from or start from, or wherever you want to do. You can't change where you are now. I mean, you're here. And so what are you going to do with it now? Do you want to stay in where you are and keep revolving? Or do you want to evolve and grow and do something else in your life? Because you can do whatever we want. You just have to have the tools to be able to create that type of life, because we all have that power to manifest what we want. You just got to get clear about who you are first, because how do you know what you want if you're not clear about who you are? You just it's not possible. So get clear about who you are and your values. Now, if anyone wants help with that, again, go to my website, go to the Synergy call, fill out the form, and we can jump on a call and I can help you with this process. So I just think it's such an important piece of the puzzle. And as we go through, and I hope you'll join me for the other calls, we got 11 more nuggets of wisdom that over my life, I've seen in my own life and people I work with, the most important pieces, the most important nuggets of wisdom that you can access to help guide you to self-mastery. So we're going to go through these 11. Each one, it's going to be important that you're more clear about who you are as a person. What are your values? We're going to keep building on that. And like I said, on the model, we're going to get clear on that centerpiece, because that's the most important thing we could do right now, is get clear about your identity, who you are, what are your values, what is your mission, how do you show up authentically? Then we're going to build from there. We're not going to build and then figure that out. We're going to find out this, and then build from there. Doesn't matter where you are in your areas of life. We're going to get clear about where you are right now. Who are you? Now, what would be your ideal relationship look like? What does your ideal career and finance look like? What does your ideal health and wellness look like? Then we're going to bridge the gap from where you are now to where you'd love to be in each area. It's not hard, but you got to put some foundational work in to get clear about you, get clear about your values, because then you can have an understanding of who you are. If you don't understand you and why you make the choices you make, then you might feel confused and you might feel disconnected from you. But when you can really see that you're on track, you're living according to your values, everything you've chosen in the past has been perfect, which means everything you choose in the future is also going to be that way. But now you can have the power to be able to consciously manifest what you want based around your highest values and drives, and not based around what others want you to do. And one of the secrets here is it doesn't matter what you choose to do with your life. Some people are going to like it and some are not. Whether you choose to be someone you're not, some are going to like it, some are not. You're going to have support and challenge, pain and pleasure. So you might as well choose to show up and be yourself, live according to your values, know that you're going to still get support and challenge, pain and pleasure. You're going to get people liking you, disliking you, but at least you're being yourself. At least you're being true to you. And that's the most important person to be true to in your life, is be true to yourself. Because you can't hide from yourself. You can't fake yourself out and be someone you're not. Your body, your physiology, it won't let you. Internal and external world won't let you. We're here to show up and be ourselves. We're here to express our highest values. We're here to live according to our values and purpose. And that's it. Some are going to like it, some may not, but it doesn't really matter, because you got to live with yourself. You've been the constant ever since you were born, all your life. You've had people come, people go, jobs come and go, but you've been the constant. And so get solid on the constant, get clear about that, and have a solid foundation of who you are to build from. And then really there's no limit to what you can have in your life, honestly, if you're clear about that. And then you can have more fulfillment in each area. Each area you can have fulfillment. Doesn't mean you're not going to attract challenges, because we always will, back and forth. But now you're going to learn to navigate the challenges and transitions smoothly and not erratically. We got to get hit on the head, because I think we've all been there. I know I have. But now, as I'm getting older, and I've had 53 years of experience of self-mastery of Dave Tuck's life, challenges and roadblocks becoming more easier to navigate. So I know there's some younger people on the call. This is a beautiful thing to start doing at whatever age you are, is get clear and build this foundation. And then let's go have fun creating your life around that. And now that's when you really have fulfillment, is when you're living your life according to your values, and you're serving, you've tapped into the career that you love doing. You're having financial wealth, if that's what you want. You have an ideal relationships, you look and feel great, you have mind body wellness, and it's all flowing together around your eye in the center. That's self-mastery. That's fulfillment. That's possible for anyone. Got to step one, give yourself some time. Step one, get clear about who you are. Most important piece of the puzzle. So we're going to come back to this quite a lot in each session. It's going to be building. So come back in 2 weeks, and I'll have my slides ready. So not sure where they went, but I think it worked out great. So what other questions or comments can we answer right now? We got a couple more minutes.
Dave, I have a question for you.
Go.
What about, I guess, I'm curious about the dynamics of your values changing or evolving.
Yep.
When you're tapping into your values and you're starting manifesting, sometimes it can get maybe you're realizing that your ambition, it's getting a hold of you. Your values can start getting corrupted. You are aligned with your purpose, and you're manifesting, but at the same time, your ego also comes in the way. You start fatiguing or damaging your body, or having more stress, or let's say you're accomplishing and you start manifesting, but then you are so focused and fixed on your value and on your purpose that other other facets of your integrity starts getting compromised. How can you be vigilant and adjust your values so you can stay in your core and in your center and in your real ultimate values, which I guess is all your values aligned?
So your values will pretty much remain constant unless you have something happen, some event or circumstance that changes that. Like I said, loss of job, death in the family, or relationship breakups, and getting married or having kids. All these events in our life tend to change our values some. That's why it's important to anytime you're going through a transition, anything you've had a circumstance happen like that, a health problem or a job issue, relationship issue, go back over your values again and take the value determination again and really get more clear, because it will change slightly. And then your values will change. So, and again, when you're out of integrity with your values, you will get the feedback that you mentioned. You'll start to feel fatigue. You'll start to have physiological issues. If you subordinate your values to others, you'll have the same feedback. You'll start resenting your own self, because your true self and your highest calling knows when you're on or off purpose. When you're living according to other people's values, your inner voice knows it. This is one of the next session, we're going to talk about the 3 superpowers to help keep you on track. That's just one of them, which is listening to your inner voice when it comes to deciding what you want to do in life. And so you can't screw it up. You can only make choices and learn from those lessons. So when you start to feel the physiological symptoms, like you mentioned, that's the indicator that you're not being integritous with your values, because you can't fool yourself. You can't pretend that you like something or you're inspired about this when you're actually not in your heart. Your physiology won't allow it. And so the biggest thing in your circumstances is pay attention to your values and then re-correct. When you start to feel those symptoms, get yourself back on track. And how do you get back on track? Go back to your values, remind yourself who you are, ask yourself the quality questions. Am I making choices based around my highest values, or am I actually trying to please others, or am I subordinating, or am I trying to, am I out of fair exchange? Am I having unrealistic goals I'm setting now because I'm not, I'm trying to get something that I'm not ready for? And so again, get clear and then pay attention to the physiology. Use it as your guide and your filter to help keep you on track. Because when you start to get off track, you'll have a feedback. It'll be in your thoughts, it'll be in your mind, or it'll be in your physiology. That's the time to self-correct quickly, because you want to retrain yourself to be really fine-tuned about when you're living according to your values and when you're not. When you're not fine-tuned, all of a sudden you wake up and you're way off. And you go, oh my gosh, I've been making choices based around these other things, not really to me. When you're fine-tuned with it, you can self-correct as you go. And that is more efficient. And that's where you can really go from A to B in an efficient manner and not have to take so many detours and learn lessons and have challenges and chaos and roadblocks. I hope that answered your question. If not, we can clarify.
No, yes, thank you.
Good. That was a great question. Thank you for that. Any other questions? Thank you guys for being a great group. To me, this class is a really important foundation class, and I hope we see it growing, because I think that more and more people today, we really need the more people that can be aligned to their mission, aligned to their purpose, the more inspired actions that we can have in life. And so this course, these 12 sessions, these 12 nuggets of wisdom will all build on each other and give you a toolkit to help you navigate life more effectively, more efficiently. When you have roadblocks, challenges, or obstacles that come up, you don't see them as blocks, you see them as opportunities, and you face them with confidence and certainty. And you don't allow them to stop you in your tracks like some things do sometimes in life. You know, you have an event and all of a sudden you're stuck. And so when you can use these tools that we're going to be learning, you can continue to move forward toward a really fulfilling life, and surround yourself with the relationships that are inspiring, with the career that's inspiring to you, with the physiological mind-body connection that's inspiring to you. And then you have your greatest opportunity to live inspired and master yourself, master your life, master your thoughts, master your and be able to regulate yourself when you get off. So I really appreciate this opportunity to start sharing these nuggets of wisdom, I call them, with you guys. And in 2 weeks from tonight, 7 p.m. Central, we're going to talk around how to use your 3 superpowers to guide you along the journey, along your path, as you start to create what you want in your areas of life: relationship, career, finance, and health. We want to build those, and that's the rich method that we talked about. So, but we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to build the I first, and then fine tune. And many of you may be already on your inspired. Maybe you have the inspired relationship, career, finance, and health you want. That's beautiful. But once we get clear in the middle, we're going to just make sure that that's the case. And if not, we're going to fine tune those so you can now move out what's not meant to be and move in what's meant to be, and then recalibrate and integrate this into your life. And I think it's going to be an important piece of your puzzle. So I appreciate y'all's interest in self-mastery. And I think you'll get a lot out of this. So thank you. And I hope to see you guys all in 2 weeks. Share this with your friends. And if you have questions, message, go to my website. And let's have a synergy call. Be fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good. Thank y'all for coming. We'll see you soon. Love you guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave,
Yes.
I think Jeffrey has a question.
Oh, good. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you did your closing summary, kind of, but I have like a question, comment, and
Go ahead.
And I wrote it down here, so I'll just kind of read it. So I think we may often focus, and you touched on this a few times, but we may often focus on living in our highest values in the sense that we may be doing the right thing or have the right job or career or relationship. And I think that's true, but it seems like from what you said, living in our highest values is indicated less about, maybe indicated less about what we're doing, but rather how we are going about doing what we are doing in this moment and dealing with these things and interacting with the world, and based on how we know ourselves and yeah, the feedback we get.
Yes. And it really comes down to our perception. Is how you're perceiving your life. And that's where those quality questions come in, because you might be perceiving that you're doing the right thing, but really every choice you make, you're going to have positive, negative, support and challenge, ups and downs, ebbs and flows. And so when you can make your choice based on your highest values, you're still going to have support and challenge, positive, negative, but at least you're living true to yourself. And like I said earlier, you can choose to attract the challenge that you want. Do you want the challenges of being true to yourself, or you want the challenges of trying to be someone you're not? Because you're going to have both sets. And so there is really no right or wrong choice. It's just choosing what is the thing that's aligns with who you are, aligns with your mission, aligns with your highest values. And then allow life to integrate and calibrate around that. Because like I said earlier, no matter what you choose, some people might like it, some may not. And so let people learn to calibrate around your choice to live the life that you want to live based on your values, and see what happens. What you'll notice is you'll attract certain people when you choose certain things, and some people will be repelled from you. And so I always like to tell my clients, look, let's get clear on your values. Let's get on the bus, and whoever wants to join you on this journey, they'll join you. And as you go along through life, living your values, making choices, people will constantly be getting in on and off the bus. They'll be getting on and off the bus. And so you just not be attached to who's on and who's off. You just be attached to you living according to your values and you being yourself, loving yourself, and then let the world around you calibrate to that, as opposed to you changing who you are to fit in, because that's not going to be an inspiring life, and you're going to have challenges and physiological symptoms, and it's not going to be as inspiring life as you would desire. So the key is know yourself and then be yourself. And then now you got the opportunity to love yourself. And when you love you and when you love who you are, you attract others the opportunity to love you for you. Because you're going to be, I'd rather be loved for who I am than be loved for someone I'm not. And so be yourself and not be attached to who loves you for it or not, because some will and some won't. And I think sometimes we get caught up into trying to please. These are the clients I have, they're trying to please everybody outside of them. And what's happening, they're actually not pleasing themselves because they're not being true. Be true to you, be yourself, and just be an observer of who is drawn to you. Be an observer and not be attached. And that's one of the keys that I think through this process that we'll go through, you're going to learn how to not be attached to outcomes so much, but just be yourself and be an observer of your life, and keep on just living true to you and living your mission. And you'll see the world calibrate around that. I hope that answered your question or helped out.
Yes, thanks, Dave.
No problem. Good question, though. Other questions? This is we have no limit on the questions we can ask. So it's helpful for everyone to get these questions answered. So is there anything else? If not, we'll close the first session with a big thank you to Gia for helping. Thank you for everyone who attended. Really appreciate the opportunity to share this last hour with you. And again, yes, Gia.
Thanks, Dave. Could you repeat the date of the next class?
Yeah, the date of the next class is 2 weeks from today, which is going to be the 24th, 7 p.m., same time, Central Time, 7 to 8, and then we'll have a question afterwards.
Great.
Yeah, we'll be putting out some. We'll send you the info on the next talk. You'll be getting some information on that. It's how to use your 3 superpowers to help guide you. And that's a very powerful class to how do you learn to tap into your own power, superpower, I call them, to be able to manage your life and attract what you want by these superpowers. It's a good course. So it'll be a good talk next time. So 2 weeks from today, 7 o'clock. Hope to see everyone here and even more. So thank you for being here.